Hi everyone, this is Jeff Veglahn, land steward of our Menomonee Valley branch. I'm here with you on another one of our virtual botany walks. Today we are in Three Bridges Park. It's a beautiful fall-like day, almost 70 degrees, and we are going to be talking about one of our late season prairie plants, goldenrod. The genus is Solidago, and many people don't realize that we actually have quite a few different goldenrods. When you say goldenrod, most people think of Canada goldenrod, which will be the first one I'm going to show you, but we actually have 20 different types of goldenrod in southeast Wisconsin. I'm going to show you just a few of them that we have here in Three Bridges Park. Alright, so like I said, we are in Three Bridges Park. We're right off of the Hank Aaron State Trail. And it's going to be hard to see right now because the bloom is past its prime and it's just about ready to go to seed. But this one right here in front of me is Canada goldenrod. So Canada goldenrod, like I said, is one of our most common goldenrods. It is colonizing, which means that it spreads by rhizomes or roots that go underneath the ground. And it can be, in some instances, kind of aggressive. But the best way to identify this plant is it's roughly 3 to 5 feet tall. It has alternate side leaves. So when we look at the leaves here, they are alternate. Let me focus there. The stem can be hairy or not. Sometimes the leaves are serrated. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes the stem is red, sometimes it's green. Sometimes it grows in wet loving areas, sometimes it grows in dry loving areas. So I'm saying this all because for me, Canada goldenrod is sometimes the trickiest one to identify. It has so many different variations. It can grow in so many different habitats. It can grow in full sun to part shade. It also hybridizes with other goldenrods. So sometimes Canada goldenrod, even though it is very common, can be a little bit of a headache to identify. But usually what I do is, if it is widespread, like how it is here, there's quite a bit of it. If it is widespread, then your first guess should be Canada goldenrod if it is a taller plant like this. The next plant that we're going to look at is another pretty common one in southeast Wisconsin. This one is stiff goldenrod. So stiff goldenrod, as you can see, here's Canada right next to it that I'm holding on to. Stiff goldenrod is the one right next to it. It has a later bloom. So it's typically in full bloom or almost full bloom at this time of year. It has more of a flat top flower head to it. You can see that it's almost flat. Compare that to Canada goldenrod that almost has more of like a Christmas tree shape to it. The leaves are also alternate. But as you can see, the leaves are much shorter, they're much more round, and this plant is almost always hairy or downy on the stem. So far, we have talked about Canada goldenrod and stiff goldenrod. We have another one right over here. It's a little bit shorter, so I'm gonna crouch down here. And this goldenrod that we have down here that is this brilliant yellow. Oh, there's a honeybee. Let's see if I can get that honeybee. There's a honeybee on it. So this one down here, it's much shorter. It's usually only 1 foot to 2.5 feet tall. It's much later blooming, just like stiff goldenrod, but it has more of a flower head like Canada goldenrod. The leaves, as you can see, are alternate, but then it has these little leaf-like structures right at the base of each leaf. Can you see that? So right here there's a little leaf structure, right here and right at the base of each leaf there's this little leaf structure, and that's pretty identifiable of this plant, which is Gray's Goldenrod. Grey, not like the color. But this is Gray's Goldenrod. It's also called Oldfield Goldenrod. It typically grows in full sun and a little bit drier conditions. All right, so the fourth one that we're going to be talking about today is Grassleaf Goldenrod. So first we started off with Canada Goldenrod, and then we talked about Stiff Goldenrod. Third was Oldfield or Gray's Goldenrod. Now we're going to be talking about Grassleaf Goldenrod. And Grassleaf Goldenrod is this one right down here. So this one is no longer blooming. This one blooms right around the same time as Canada Goldenrod. Let me see if I can get a better view of this. It blooms right around the same time as Canada Goldenrod. So right now it is almost ready to set seed. But Grassleaf Goldenrod gets its name because the leaves of the plant look grass-like. Simple as that. They're very skinny, they're very linear, just like a blade of grass. And as you can see, let me see if I can get one here. As you can see on that light, the veins are parallel with one another, where most flowering plants and other goldenrods, like Canada right here, has more of a webbed and spreading out vein pattern. Grassleaf Goldenrod has more of a parallel vein system, which is indicative of grass-like plants. So Grassleaf Goldenrod is roughly 1.5 to 3 feet tall. It is also another colonizing plant, so it spreads by rhizomes, and again, it can be a little aggressive, but aggressive natives aren't a bad thing. It's not like having a non-native invasive completely take over and creating a monoculture. Aggressive natives still work in harmony with other native plants, and you very rarely will have a monoculture of a native plant. All right, I'm just gonna walk across the Hank Aaron State Trail to our last plant that we're gonna be talking about today, the last goldenrod, and the last one is Riddells Goldenrod. So, Riddells Goldenrod is this one right down here. Again, it is a shorter goldenrod, so only about 1.5 to 3 feet tall. The leaves are similar to grass-like grassleaf goldenrod in the way that they are very linear, very long, very much like a grass blade. But as you can see, it kind of clasps right around the main stem of the plant. Here, that's a pretty good identifier of this plant. Also, it's a later blooming goldenrod, similar to stiff goldenrod, except this one almost has more of a cylindrical or globe shape structure to it, which makes it kind of cool. So that's the last one, Riddells Goldenrod. I just want to thank you for joining me again for one of our virtual botany walks. We talked about 5 different goldenrods today: Canada Goldenrod, Stiff Goldenrod, Gray's or Oldfield Goldenrod. We talked about Grassleaf Goldenrod, and the last one was Riddells Goldenrod. I hope to see you again soon for our next edition of our virtual botany walk. Bye.